Now we can use what we've just learned about solving inequalities to help us find the domain of this radical function. Now, we've already worked on finding the domain of a radical function, and you remember that you can't take the square root of anything that's negative. So basically what we have to do is say, well, x cubed minus 8 has to be greater than or equal to 0. That's what we've said in the past. And then we just solve for x to find the domain. So if we add 8 to both sides, we get x cubed is greater than or equal to 8. And then if we take the cube root of both sides to undo the cubing, then we have x is greater than or equal to 2. And then we would have drawn that out on a number line and said, okay, well, if 2 is here, then that would start at 2 and be everything to the right. So our domain would look like 2 to infinity with a bracket on 2. Now that's what we've done in the past. But the same, you are solving an inequality. So we can use the same procedure that we just learned if we wanted to, and it should double check what we have been doing all along. So here again, if we said x cubed minus 8 is greater than or equal to 0, well, technically this is a difference of 2 cubes. So if you remember your factoring, this should factor into x minus 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 4. If you don't remember that pattern, it was a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. That's how we got that. Greater than or equal to 0. Now, your trinomial here will not factor down any further, otherwise it would have been in the pattern. So we have it fully factored compared to 0. So since this is not solvable, this part of it, because it won't factor down anymore, but the x minus 2, we can say x minus 2 equals 0 to find our critical value. So x equals 2 would be our critical value. Now if we looked at that on a number line, then we would say, okay, here's 2. We need to look at what's happening on either side of that. So if we go to the left, we could choose maybe 0. And if we went to the right, maybe a 5. Alright, so if we use our factors then, x minus 2, if we plugged in a 0 in that place, this would be negative. If we plugged in a 5, this would be positive. Now our other factor, x squared plus 2x plus 4. Now again, remember, we're only interested in what the sign will be. So if we plug in a 0, these terms are going to go away and we just have a positive 4. So that's going to be positive in this region. If we were to plug in a 5, well, since we'd square something, that would be positive. Add another positive to it and another positive to it, this will be positive also. So when we multiply these two things, we look at those signs. Negative times positive would be negative. Positive times positive would be positive. Now remember, we're looking for where this is greater than 0 or where it's positive. So it would be in this region right in here, starting at 2 and going to infinity. Because we had greater than or equal to, 2 gets the the bracket rather. So we have just verified using two different methods, that same domain. Now technically this is exactly what's going on. This is sort of a shortcut version. So what we've been doing before, we've been doing it, just not the long drawn out way. But now you can double check yourself.